Hi, all. Here we are again. And I hope this is a treat, not just a trick. The reason we're here is to recognize that the success of any weight loss program ends up being psychological. There are a million weight loss programs. I defy you to show me any program that's magic. They advertise magic. They sell you magic. They talk about magic. There is no thing as magic. And if you believe it, then you're caught up in the illusion, because the truth is that if you don't take off the weight, do it in a healthy kind of fashion, and keep it off, then you're just playing a game. And there again is the psychology of everything. Our program is special. And the reason it's special is because if you truly invest in yourself in doing this program, it will literally change your life. I know of no other program that will promise you the kind of weight loss that we promise you in total health without any magic at all, and that works for the rest of your life. But you do not need to stay on for the rest of your life. The first thing I want to talk about is this Halloween holiday that we just experienced. I, excuse me, I had a terrible, terrible time. My granddaughter went trick-or-treating, and she came back with a barrel of candy. I couldn't believe what she came back with. She laid it all out and started to separate out. And some of my favorite treats were there. And to tell you that I wasn't tempted would be to tell you that I love swimming in ice cold water. I had the most difficult time, and I think I've used one whole packet of Tic Tacs to prevent myself from giving in. Was I tempted? I'm not sure that temptation was the word, because it brought up in me so much desire and wanting, and the old addiction. Sugar and comfort were there. So let's accept the fact that we have just experienced. And maybe some of you are going to go on with more of that, with the fact that you're tempted to break down and give in. Human beings are not hermits. Human beings banded together for comfort, for safety, and they went from groups to cities to nations. But it was the interpersonal involvement between people which not only created our society, but is there to teach us how we can be successful. You can try to do it alone. It's going to be much more difficult. Will you succeed? You can succeed, but will you succeed? I don't know. If you buddy up, and that's one of the nice things, buddies can be supportive of each other. Buddies know what they are experiencing and can share those experiences, interact with each other, be supportive of each other, and be helpful to each other. And one of the things that I think about all the time is, what is it that makes people uncomfortable, embarrassed to admit that they are doing something to lose weight? If you're overweight, is there anyone that you know who is not aware of the fact that you are overweight? And if you are overweight, and everyone knows that you are overweight, what's the reason for denial? And if you do something to lose weight, why are you embarrassed and reluctant to share with people and say, I'm overweight? It is a problem for me because, and you can answer that question in any way that you wish. But once you answer that question, it's over and done with. Dieting should not be a secret, because if you're going to lose weight and you're going to diet, then understand something. You've made a decision, a life decision, to do something, and you have a reason for doing it. Now, I can get into the dynamics of that, such as people have thoughts about what you've decided to do. The important thing is to understand that you are the most important person in your life. If you are not the most important person in your life, then something has gone awry. Many of you have heard me many times say, if I do not love me, then you better be very careful if I tell you I love you. And the reason for that is very simple. If I do not love me, where am I going to get the love to give to you? So question number one is, why am I sitting here listening to Dr. Schwartz and saying I need tools and tricks in order to achieve my goal? And the answer is simple. The power of food will never diminish. The power of food will never diminish. Number two, food is not our problem. And you better wake up and recognize it's not the problem. You see, if we did not want to lose weight, then eating is not an issue. The only reason food and dieting is an issue is because we have chosen to lose weight. So, step number one. What is your reason for losing weight? And in the process of asking what is your reason for losing weight, make sure you understand that if your reason for losing weight does not have to do with you, then your motivation is questionable and your level of success is questionable. So why are you sitting here? Well, I want to feel better. I want to look better in clothes. I want to have more energy. The reason you want to lose weight is not written in a book. You're the one who has to decide why you're doing it. And if you're not doing it for yourself, then question the goal that you're going to achieve. Most people have vague thoughts as to how they want to deal with this. Now, be serious about it, because you're going to make a commitment to the reason. Number two, let's get over being embarrassed by saying, I've decided to lose weight because I'm going to be taking care of myself. And I think it's important for me to take care of myself. And one of the ways in which I'm doing that is through a weight loss program. The second thing is to recognize that anyone who disputes your rationale has a thought which has nothing to do with your rationale for doing it. Let's remember something. There is no right or wrong here. The only reason food is an issue is because you've decided to lose weight. Now, The only way you can be wrong is, I think, you're foolish in wanting to change what it is that you're doing to lose weight. So you think you should lose weight, and I think you should not. But my thinking that you should not has nothing to do with the reason it's important to you. Now, any weight loss program is going to raise issues. When you're on a weight loss program, you have some kind of regimen. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And our program has a very defined regimen. It's going to affect your daily life for as long as you're on the program. You will only eat between 12 and 6. You will not have breakfast. You will not have dinner. You will only eat caloried foods between 12 and 6. Already, you've set some boundaries, and those boundaries are real. You cannot alter them. They're fixed. And therefore, for all of us, it will be an issue. Now, the question is the issue a problem? And what makes it a problem? Well, Dr. Schwartz, I like to have dinner with my family. Well, what does that mean? Well, when they are having dinner, I want to eat when they eat. Now, let's break that down. Is it the eating together which is the issue? Or is it the togetherness which is the issue? Now, if the issue is food, then the limits and issues that you set are not something that you're going to be able to conform to because you're torn. On the other hand, if the issue is togetherness, then what difference does it make what you do at the table with those other people as long as you are participating? And I want you to notice something else. It may be awkward the first time, second time, third time you do it. But very, very quickly, as long as you are comfortable, as long as you recognize you're in control and you're doing something that says you feel good. I like what I'm doing. Not only that, but I'm getting together with these people that I want to participate with. And I'm not doing it so we can eat together. I'm doing it because I want to be together with them. Once you make that decision, and for you it's a good decision, people simply fall in line. And the reason they fall in line is if you're not uncomfortable, they stop being uncomfortable. They don't have to think of reasons to make you feel good because they feel guilty or whatever. And most of us don't recognize the fact that when we love ourselves, and that's a way of loving yourself. I like the me who comes and sits down and is eating with other people, but I am maintaining the limits based upon my program, but I'm interacting with these people, and that's what it's all about. If it's not what it's all about, then the question is, Why are you on a weight loss program? Remember, the whole key here is to change the world that you live in so that it feels better living in that world. And as the love of yourself, which causes you to set those limits. I'm sitting and eating with you. I'm going to eat what I eat or don't eat, and you are going to eat what you eat or don't eat. And the core center of this is our interaction during this period of time that we sit here at the table. And when people recognize, one, they're comfortable because you're comfortable, and recognize that you've made yourself important in your own life. I'm doing this for me. It makes me feel good. I want to interact with you people. I want to be part of this, but I'm not going to give up myself in order to sit with you. And I'm not asking you to give up anything to sit here with me. The only thing that is different is they will be eating and we will be doing something. Maybe we'll be eating too. But if we're on program, we won't be eating the same things that they are. Now, once people recognize that you're that important to yourself, and they begin to understand how good it makes you feel to be in control of yourself, to feel good about what it is that you're doing, they begin to look at you differently. If you look around you, there are people whom you just want to reach out to and be like them. And one of the characteristics that stands out is how confident they are. They give off an aura that says, I like being the me that I am. And there's nothing else attached to it. It's irrelevant to me whether you are emulating me or not. Because since I feel so good about myself and I'm doing the kinds of things that I'm doing, I'm comfortable with whatever it is that you're doing, as long as you are not trying to harm me. That kind of thought process breeds more of that kind of thought process. Now, as I said, take an inventory of the issues and recognize that whatever the issues are, they're resolvable as long as everyone understands that you are doing it for yourself and are not asking anyone else to change their behavior to emulate you. And that you are changing your behavior, and let's take meals as an example, because you're going to be sitting with them, accepting whatever it is that they do, and feeling comfortable with it because it makes you feel good to be with them, and eliminate the word as if I am like you. None of us are like anyone else. We all have similarities, but I'm an individual. You're an individual. And your individuality tells us everything we need to know if we're paying attention. And my individuality tells me and you everything about me, everything about what you think about me. And if I like who it is that I am, and I recognize that I'm not harming you, then I'm feeling even better about the me that I am because I recognize it's not harming you. Temptation, comfort, distraction, feelings, these are all the issues and others like it that cause us to have difficulty. Now, remember where we started. Food will never lose its power. And it is only a problem because we've chosen to lose weight. What makes it a problem is we've chosen to lose weight. That's what the difference is. Food is food. You want to get into a contest of what's a good food and what's a not good food? Be my guest. Food is not a problem except for the fact that it's confronted by the fact that I want to lose weight. Now, there's another issue, and that issue is how many of you in the back of your minds are afraid to lose weight, fearful of losing weight. Reason? Once you lose weight, change occurs. Once you lose weight, change occurs. And that's why I raised with you the issue of what is it you're losing weight? I'm the overweight person who sits at the table. When I lose weight, I'm not going to be the overweight person who sits at the table. How is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect your perception of me? What is it you're going to think? What happens if I lose the weight and the expectations related to other people are not achieved? Well, maybe your assumption was wrong to begin with. Maybe it was not the fact that you were overweight, but people responded to you because of who you were, not because you were overweight. And therefore, now that you've lost weight, their response to you is not different because they weren't responding towards you because you were overweight. They were responding to you the way they are, the way they were, because you are you. Now, remember that we are dealing with a chemical imbalance in our bodies. This gland, the hypothalamus, is out of whack. It's not functioning properly because it's caused you to gain weight. It's a chemical imbalance. it needs to change. Now, if you do not change the chemical imbalance, for example, people who are addicted to drugs tend to fall back into using drugs because the chemical imbalance caused by the drugs doesn't go away. So the use and continued use of the drugs has to do with how you react to that. And if your body is not corrected so that those imbalances are not there, then the odds that you're going to fall back, recidivize, is much, much greater. And those people who believe you can use willpower have a minute chance of being successful, because things like drugs, things like alcohol, things like food have a chemical response within our bodies. They throw off the way the body functions and create something else. So it's not a natural state. And until we recreate that balance, the need for I call it aberrant behavior, the wrong behavior, succeeds. That's why, for example, I invented the Magic Protocol. It's why I recommended sugar-free candies. It's why I recommended Tic Tacs. They're just tools, and they put you in control. They remind you of why you're doing this. And remember what you're doing. We are chemically cleansing and detoxifying our body. We're trying to heal it in the process of losing weight. Keep that in mind. The only reason you're doing this is to get something from you. Now, we use food for comfort. We use nicotine for comfort. We use drugs for comfort. We use wine for comfort. Problem? You get some of the comfort, but you also get with it the fact that the basic source which draws you to it doesn't change. We must get at the source. And once we get at the source and change that process, then the sword doesn't have to do anything. It's safe and secure. I am doing what I'm doing. It's comfortable within my body. It keeps a balance. And once it keeps the balance, my psychological issues come to the fore. Temptation, distraction, escape, comfort. You can think of many. They have nothing to do with anything except the memory. Remember, we've cleansed and detoxified now. The memory of what I got feeding my addiction. And I miss it. I miss the high. I miss the isolation. I miss the feelings. I miss the reaction. I didn't like the way people dealt with me. And the more I tried to get them to accept the me that I was, it didn't work. Well, it's the same here. It will work if you work it. Now, go for a walk, dance, sing a song, pick up a hobby, listen to some music, build something, take something apart, clean something. Each and every one of the things that I measure, and I'm sure there are countless others, all serve the purpose of you trying to achieve balance once again from this agent. For some people, it's drugs. For some people, it's alcohol. For some people, the drug is food and what it does to you when you eat it. And it's a double whammy because when it comes to alcohol and nicotine and drugs, you can live without them. You cannot live without food. And since these, quote, foods that we use, they're also chemicals. They react within our body, just like chemicals do. And these chemicals, depending upon what they are not good for our bodies. They're not good for our bodies. And as long as we continue to use them, it's not going to be good for our body. Remember also, there is the addiction. So in trying to change, the addiction presses on you because it's change and it's chemical. And those are two very, very difficult things to deal with. Now, that's what you and I right now are all about. The fact that you're listening to me says, I want support from you. The reason I'm here is I want to be part of that support. I don't want to force you to do anything. And I'm not going to chase after you unless you tell me you want me to chase after you. Because once you give up control, and we've talked about this many times, once you give up control, the anxiety that comes with it is a real problem. One of the things that I can tell you for having been a psychologist for over 50 years, when people are able to express themselves in a safe environment, it changes them. And the reason it changes them is you have all the answers. You know why you want to lose weight. You know why you don't want to go to Chicago. You know why you don't talk with this one. You know why. is everything that you know, except you've built around that these distractive walls so as not to address it because of the fear of change, the fear of giving up the comfort of something that makes you uncomfortable. I'd be very, very, very surprised if there were any of you out there who are overweight and tell me you're comfortable with being overweight. I'm saying you're overweight. Yes, there is an imbalance in the hypothalamus, but you're not happy with that. I don't care what you say. You're not happy with it. You're doing for a reason that hasn't worked for you. And that's why our getting together and communicating is so important. I used to love the meetings that I had in West Orange when we first started, where I had groups of people every Thursday night. And we would talk and we would react and we would interact. People were doing the program, but they still talked, they still interacted. It gave them support. They were much more comfortable doing the program. And that's why they came to the meetings. We live in a different world now. I'm on Facebook. You can see me, I can see you. What hasn't happened yet today is no one has said anything other than I. Now, it's anonymous. Make up a name about yourself. Jilly Willy has a question. I don't even know whether Jilly Willy is male or female or transgender. I don't know whether that person is young or old. I don't know anything about that person. But that person has thoughts and ideas. And when that person shares those thoughts and ideas and questions, and we interact, we grow stronger together, and it makes us more functional. That's why it was man, and then it was a couple, and then it was a group, and it became a city, and it became a nation, because those people interacting with each other were ending up being supportive of each other. And that's what this is all about. I told you I had a terrible time Halloween because all that candy was there. And I wanted it. And to be very honest with you, I couldn't allow myself to give in because the abundance was incredible. I couldn't allow myself to give in and sit here before you and not use one of the tools that we have. If it works, then you can use it. And remember what I just said. Everything comes from me liking the me that I am. If I don't like the me that I am, I'm going to do things that are not good for me because I have to hide it. I don't want you to know. But let me tell you about you. And I'm going to tell you the same thing about me. I'm imperfect. I'm not perfect. I have strengths and I have weaknesses. If they're not troublesome, then it just makes me different from you and you different than I. But if it's because there is an imperfection in me which is psychological in nature, it's not good for me and it's not good for you. Question. Since it is anonymous, why is there not one question being asked and all you have to do is go to the comment area and SteamYard and type it in, and we'll talk and react? Why don't more people avail themselves of my telephone number? Remember, I can help you find the answer and do so without pain. Discomfort? Maybe. Make you nervous? Maybe. Make you feel good? Maybe. But if you don't share it, it gets worse because we have to use more and more energy to hide it. I'm going to try to answer some questions now. Thanksgiving dinner, I'm putting on my glasses. Thanksgiving dinner is very important to me and my family. Will I be able to eat with them? Should I switch to phase 2 now and start weight loss again after the holiday? Now, the answer is, what's the question? What's important to you? And why are you asking me the question? I'm going to give you the answer in a moment. But the question first is, why the question? Now, I know this person because I'm not giving their name, but they signed the question. And I know this person wants very badly to enjoy the festivity of the Thanksgiving dinner. That's not a good thing, and that's not a bad thing. It's a family tradition. They all get together, and the core of that Thanksgiving is, yes, getting together, but it's the interaction that goes on and the enjoyment of Aunt Susie's this and the special foods that are there. Now, here's the answer. The answer is, number one, there's a difference between eating a potato and eating 10 potatoes. This is a one-shot affair. It may happen several times during the year, but it's a one-shot circumstance. And if you are somewhat controlled in what it is that you do. You'll enjoy it. It will pass. It may have some short-term impact on your weight loss, but if you immediately restart with dairy after the fact and don't punish yourself afterward for having indulged, then we will move on and everything will be fine. Now, if you turn your world around, the answer was, should I go off the program and go this? And the answer is, you're being dishonest. Do what's important to you. Every action is going to have some kind of reaction. This may have a slowing effect on your weight loss. Accept it. Just simply accept it. But accept it if it's really going to be good for you. If you're doing it for someone else, I think you have to be careful. Because the motivation then is not healthy for you. Therefore, if you're going to indulge Thanksgiving, and we will be putting recipes online before the week before Thanksgiving to give you thoughts and ideas of what you will do. Everything is possible if you have a plan and you are the core and the center of it, because everything comes from you liking the you of who you are. Next question. I was so tempted I gave in and ate some of my son's Halloween candy. Should I do milk day tomorrow? The answer is always restart with dairy. Period. Always restart with dairy unless there is a major reason not to. One of the things I've learned is that one swallow, one bird, does not a summer make. If you indulge, you've done it, and now let it go. It only becomes a problem if you begin to repeat that indulgence. And because we call it an indulgence, and then we repeat it, the words themselves suggest it's not healthy. Hear that? I indulged. Okay, you indulged. Now what? Well, now we're getting into the psychological aspects of it. Accept the fact that you indulged. What makes it a problem? Well, I wasn't perfect and I shouldn't have done it. And you're going to give me 15 reasons why you did what you did. Those reasons are valid for you because that's why you did it. But once you've done it, it's no longer valid. And if you go back to what makes you feel good, there may be a slight consequence, but that too will pass, and you will grow from it because you will realize that you are important to you, that you've learned from you, that you begin to like more the you that you are because you've accepted the fact that you're not perfect. And that imperfection is not going to drag you down. Next question. Can I use Jell-O sugar-free pudding? Answer, absolutely not. There is a product out there called Simply Delish. It's a Jell-O that has no calories and is fine. And they have created a pudding. We're testing it now because it's with milk, and that you're not allowed to have. But we're testing it with water now to see, and I will be sharing with you once we have a full answer. My husband added oil and vinegar to my broccoli before combining it with other veggies. He didn't realize I couldn't have vinegar. Is there anything I can do to make sure it didn't ruin my week? Number one, he said he didn't know. So accept the fact that he didn't know. Number two, I just said a few moments ago, one robin does not a summer make. One imperfection, indulgence, is not going to make any big deal unless we make a big deal out of it. Let it pass. Go back to the program the way it should be. Feel good about the fact that your husband now recognizes that's not good for you at this point in time, and let that strengthen your relationship instead of getting you upset. Does it matter if I drink my water room temperature or cold? The answer is actually yes. It's better to drink room temperature water. I don't like plain milk. I don't like plain milk, but like it in my coffee. Is it okay for me to drink all of my milk in my coffee spread out over X number of cups of coffee? The answer is a qualified yes. Here is the qualification. Number one, the milk has to be put in your coffee between 12 noon and 6 p.m. Number two, coffee is a dehydrator. Therefore, for each cup of coffee that you drink, you have to balance it out during the day with a cup of water. Number two, some people, because depending upon the number of cups of coffee, and I'm thinking of the caffeine, develop some reaction from the caffeine. If you do, you don't have to give up coffee, but go to the decaffeinated. Aside from that, coffee is not an issue. Let's not make it an